Hey guys, back with another toy dinosaur video. I know I said I was going to cover the Turok Son of Stone, the custom play set I made of Turok Son of Stone, but I was going to do that one next. But I figured I'd do this. I'll still do the video on the Turok set. Don't know when exactly, but I'll get around to it. So anyway, in this one, we're going to look at more of these dinosaur sets on blister cards. These carded sets are really popular among people that collect this stuff, mainly because the packaging is so cool, the graphics and such, and they bring back a lot of great memories to people that grew up in the 60s and 70s that bought these as kids. So anyway, I will start with, the three in the back there. I've covered them in previous videos, so I think I'm going to make a playlist for the carded sets. So if you want to check out those videos, just go to my channel page, and you can find the videos on those in the back. But anyway, here we go. Now, this first one we're going to look at right here, Monstrous Mammals. This is a really great carded set. It's really the best one I have, and I bought it recently. And it came out in 1962 by MPC. It's the first one that ever came out that featured the second series, Prehistoric Animals. And, it's standard cool MPC packaging, nothing on the back. And this is in very nice shape, very nice condition for one of these carded sets. Usually they're pretty beat up, and they've always got dents in the plastic bubbles. Usually they got tears, and sometimes the plastic bubbles are missing, which means it's not really a complete carded set. A lot of times the dinosaurs inside have broken through one means or another. Those are all intact. And that came out in 1962. That's one of the really early ones. The very first one came out in 1961 called Dinosaur Dynasty. And the packaging, the colors were quite different on that, but it had that cool block M for multiple toy makers. And there, that thing's got a price sticker, American discount stores, and it was 98 cents. Throughout the 60s, these were priced at 98 cents and then discounted. And 98 cents a buck was a lot of money back then. It wasn't a frivolous thing back then. Now a dollar won't buy anything, but back then, it was quite a bit of money, probably like, I don't know, $12, $13 now, at least 10. And anyway, that's my newest acquisition. It's one of the reasons I decided to make this video, is to show that, because it's significant in the history of the MPC toy dinosaurs. The second series set is the coolest set. It has the five prehistoric animals that were never made by Marx. The rest of the MPC dinos are kind of Marx knockoffs. They're a bit smaller. But the Macrauchenia, the Parasaurolophus, the Diatryma, the dire wolf, and let's see, Macrauchenia. Oh yeah, the Glyptodont. Marx never made a Glyptodont. Anyway, those five are original. And it's suspected among collectors that the same person that sculpted the Marx figures, I've heard the name Bill Lemon tossed around. I don't know if that's I mean, a lot of this information is lost to the ages because people didn't care about this for decades. You know, it was just throwaway stuff, kind of like old comic books were for a long time. And nobody really took care to archive the information. So now we're in the dark about a lot. But anyway, those 5 original animals were reputed to have been sculpted by the same person that did the Marx figures. And by and large, the Marx figures are superior to the MPC figures. The MPC excelled at packaging. It had the wild, vibrant colors and, you know, the stuff that stood out to a kid, like these graphics here and all. Now, I never had this set as a kid. I was a little too young in 1962, and it probably sold into 63, I guess, because in 64, the same set pretty much came out called Monster Mammals. And we'll look at that here in just a minute. But the Monster Mammals and the Dinosaur Monsters, which was the first set, were the ones I had as a kid. I was only like 3 years old when this came out, so I was too young for my parents to buy me stuff like that. It was a little bit expensive anyway back then for a little bitty kid. And so anyway, I had never seen one of these things offered for sale. And I had only seen pictures of it. I had never seen one in person. But this came up on eBay. And the guy had it priced way low, I thought. And he also had the best offer, so I made him an offer, and I got it for $18 less than what he had it priced for, which was probably like a third of what it was worth. Or maybe, you know, even less than that. But anyway, I was so glad to get this because it's virtually undamaged. I mean, the card's curled a little bit. You're going to get that unless they were in a hermetically sealed room and never touched after somebody got one. Usually when you saw them new in the store, they weren't that nice because that packaging is so easily damaged. And if you, don't display them or store them upright like this. I'm doing this for the video just to show, lay them flat. Because if you try to store them upright, this tends to happen. See the way that card's curled up, and sometimes it gets so bad the plastic bubbles come off, or plastic blisters, whatever. So don't store them upright vertically, store them horizontally. That way they'll retain their shape, and they won't be damaged over time, because gravity is going to work on that over the years. And, you know, they dry out, and just store them flat. But anyway, I was really happy to get this. I got it way cheaper, and he even had cheap shipping on it. And, you know, as rare as, I mean, that version of that card is super scarce. Like I said, I never had seen one even offered for sale before. And I've been after these, especially NPC toy dinosaurs and Marx toy dinosaurs. I've been after that stuff all my life in one fashion or another. Since eBay got started, you know, like for the last 25 years, I've had saved searches for this stuff, worded differently, and I mean, I was on it as far as the market goes. I had never seen one of these things offered for sale. Never saw them in a toy show. I used to hit a lot of toy shows. And I was so glad to get that thing. And this seller, after I bought this, he even shipped it in a big box. So it arrived in nice condition. I was really surprised because a lot of eBay sellers, they're bad shippers. They, you know, will send stuff not packaged properly, and it gets damaged by the mail carriers because they don't care. I mean, I've learned that. They just throw the stuff around. They're just doing their job in a hurry. But that arrived in really great shape. And the weirdest thing about it is the guy had another one of these. After I bought this one, he posted another one. And I checked it this morning. It's on there now. He posted it just like, less than a week ago. But it's on there now. And he's got it priced even cheaper than he had this one. But it's got some damage. The card isn't quite as nice. It's close. But a lot of the animals inside are damaged. Like the Smilodon's all busted up. The legs are broken on it. The Parasaurolophus on the current one the guy has a broken legs broken off. It's in the package. All these are still in the package. The parts that break off. The moss chops. I checked that close by his picture, and that moss chops in that current one he has up has a broken foot. The foot's floating around in there. So that means quite a bit for value. But even so, the packaging is the main thing. It's still got to be worth $200. I mean, I would value this thing right here at like $400 because it's just the scarcity of that version of the packaging. But anyway, I'm really glad I got that, and we will move on. I'd like to get the Dinosaur Dynasty, which is the 1961 version of these, the first series ones, but probably never see that. And if I see it, I probably won't be able to afford it. Anyway, I cobbled this together because I had the original card and the original dinosaurs. I mean, I've got, I don't know how many hundred of those dinosaurs down in the basement and in different places, duplicates and all. But I used some fishing line and tape and Mylar. This is a Mylar treasury bag. I put one over the card because the tape really sticks well to Mylar. I mean, I'm into comics too, so anybody into comics knows about Mylar. And then I put another bag on the outside to kind of take the place of the blister part of the card, the bubble that's not there on this one. And, it ended up not looking too bad. It's kind of cobbled together in that regard, but it's not too bad. In lieu of a real one, I'll take it. But here, the Diatryma is slipping a little bit, and, but I store this flat. I'm just, like I said, propping them up for this. But this is the 1964 version of the card. Actually, it's not. It's an updated version. They kept the date the same. The date says 1964. Right there. Part of that was torn off when the person removed the bubble. But this is really probably, let's see, the M for multiple toy makers doesn't have the two dots over it like that one does. So this is probably from 1968 or 1969, I would guess, this card. I bought 4 of the cards from an eBay seller several years ago, real cheap. And I was glad to get them because they're some of the best parts of the thing. Now, this is the 1960. This is actually from 1967, probably. Even though it says 1964 on it, right there. The cards were basically the same. The colors were split up a little bit more, but I covered all that in a previous video on that card, so we won't go into that. But anyway, that takes care of that. And let's look at some other stuff real quick here. Here's some other stuff from the 60s. Here's a little set, a little dime store set, prehistoric animals from Empress Playtime Toys. Just says Empress brand up there. And it's made in Hong Kong. Most of this stuff made in Hong Kong in the 60s. And the animals are held by rubber bands, and most of those have deteriorated to the point where they're slipping down. And then here's another old card, cheap card, dime store stuff. This just says animals. And it's really cheap, hollow knockoffs of MPC toys with a ridiculous amount of flashing. That's excess plastic. That moss chops there, the flashing on it is bigger than the thing's head. But this is what we had as kids. when you went into a dime store, this stuff was all over the place, rack toys. And you know, it's history, man. It's history for people that collect this stuff. And this is the Timmy small mold figures. All three of the cavemen. You don't see these too often. And a lot of times they are on a card that's branded a little bit differently. This one says Timmy Toys. But the other brand that they use for that started with a K. I don't remember the exact name of that. But anyway, I don't have anything branded by that. This was 39 cents when it came out. These are also the same dinos that they gave away at the Sinclair stations in the little bags. You had to buy a certain amount of gas and you got one free. It's a gas premium. And these are labeled. I mean, it's kind of crudely labeled. It does, you know, have the Paleocencus there and Triceratops. And they named the cavemen. The little guy with the spear is named Sam. The guy with the axe and club is named Bimbo. And let's see, the guy with the other club is named, I guess that's Jimbo. It's hard to see for his leg, but it's a cool little set that you don't see too often. Here's another one. This is from the 70s. Now these are the Ajax dinosaurs, all 8 of the Ajax small dinosaurs. And what's the coolest thing about this, the packaging, the header part of the card has the Rudolph Zallinger mural artwork, which, you know, if you grew up in the 60s, you saw that on a lot of kids' books and stuff like that about dinosaurs. It's excellent. And they also put out a My Weekly Reader with the whole freaking, I mean, it all folded out. I had one as a kid, and stupidly, I got rid of it somehow. I mean, it disappeared over the years. I don't know whatever happened to it. But anyway, these are recast because the Ajax figures, I think they first came out in the 60s. It could have been late 50s. These are 70s, the repops of those in the 70s in this cool card. And they're in black. And let's see what else we got here. Oh yes, the early 80s we had SDC, which were sold at Sinclair stations. Now these, they had like 6 different cards of these. I've only got 2 of them. But it had 4 different groups of the MPC dinos, four different mold groups of 4 in the pastel colors. And the card is kind of cool. Also, it doesn't have a plastic bubble, it's shrink wrapped. So it held up better over the years. And it's got information on the back. It's from the Spalding Dinosaur Company. You'd think it would be Sinclair, but it's not. It's Spalding Dinosaur Company. And they had a working relationship with Sinclair. They sold a lot of their stuff through Sinclair stations. They're different from the Sinclair dinos. The Spalding Dinosaur Company, SDC, just repopped the Marx revised mold group and 4 of the MPC mold groups. That one gives a little bit of info. And then here's the other style of card with half of the Marx revised mold group in the green, shiny green, and it is empty on the back. But you had a cartoony dinosaur up there, and they hardly ever come up. I mean, you would think that something from the early 80s like that, you'd see quite a bit on places like eBay, but the first time I ever saw those, I saw these 2 from one seller, wanted $35 a piece for them, and I bought them just as quick as I could. before somebody else grabbed them. And I haven't seen any since. That's been like, I don't know, 15 years ago or whatever. And we have this, and I'm not sure when this came out. Arguably, this isn't a carded set, but it's more like kind of a shadow box. But it looks cool. Bought it on eBay. I've never, you know, you hardly ever see these Starlux, these Starlux dinos offered for sale. But anyway, it's got some pretty cool sculpts. That iguanodon's not missing an arm, it's just folded to the side there. It's got a cool tongue too. And this is in really nice condition. And yeah, the back of it's just wood grain. But prehistoric Super B, okay. It's just artwork around the sides. Pretty cool. And that's from Starlux. The greatest collection, guaranteed, hand-graded. A famous French trademark. Okay, and the lid comes off. Bear with me, I'm having to be kind of careful with this stuff. I mean, making a video can be kind of hazardous to your collectibles if you're not careful. But anyway, with the lid off, you can tell how cool these things really look. That is, I'm not sure what that is. It's some prehistoric mammal. Of course, Ichthyosaurus, and it looks like a sauropod, probably a brontosaurus. And yes, there were real brontosaurus back for the toys. Even though paleontology changed it later, and I think they changed it back again. They're always changing stuff. I collect the toys. I don't worry about what paleontology says, because they can't make up their minds. It seems to me like they approach it like they know everything, ironclad, and then they always have to change stuff. So, yeah. A cool caveman. These are all hand-painted, of course. Nice Triceratops, Smilodon, and Stegosaurus. So there we have the Starlux carded / box set. Kinda. And let's see. Let's look at the J-Roo stuff. Actually, I heard it called Tai Sang. So let me take this off and we will take a look at this. Okay, that's another situation where the bubble is missing from the card, but that's the original card. It's one of the ones in that lot I bought. And these came out in the 70s. This is the earliest card. And I think Tai Sang is probably the same ones as J-Roo. I mean, we just call them Chinosaurs because it's really confusing about who made what when it comes to Chinosaurs. So that's the first series of them on that card right there. And it's not a bad card. I mean, it's not decorated as well as Marx or MPC, but it's not bad. Now, this is the second series. I don't have the card for this. These all came out carded and bagged and different kind of packaging. But those 9 there are the second series. And some of those, especially the silly-looking Pteranodon / Archaeopteryx, came out in a bunch of stuff. It also came out in bag sets with the D&D monsters, the monsters that would become D&D monsters after Gary Gygax bought a cheap bag of dinosaur toys and, you know, made stuff up for them. And that is the so-called Tai Sang. The coolest one's the Uintatherium is actually a unique figure. Now that's their version of the Macrauchenia. I think the MPC Macrauchenia is a lot better, but that one's different. And that Parasaurolophus, that's their version of that. I think Marx and MPC Parasaurolophus are a whole lot better than that. Just my opinion. So those are the 70s versions of those. And we will look at more J-Roo / whatever Chinosaurs. Now this came out probably in the late 70s, and they probably sold into the 80s, that version of that card. It's obviously a knockoff of the Marx card for their first series, the carded figures. This one is really nice. I mean, the card is pretty good. It's not nearly as nice as Marx, but it's pretty good. What's nice about it is the condition. You see these on eBay, and they're always screwed up, usually. So some guy had a nice one on there he wanted like $200 something for, which is ridiculous. I mean, I forget what I gave for that one, probably 30 or 40 bucks a few years ago. And I'm glad I got it because it's a piece of dinosaur history. And then also we have the small version. That. It's also by, I guess, J-Roo. Just call it Chinosaurs. And they have, it's basically the smaller versions of pretty much the same prehistoric animals. With the bad fingers on the Trachodon and the T-Rex, and that's what you got. And I bought that like for next to nothing a few years ago. The bubble's even restapled on that thing, and I never cared to upgrade it. Now some really recent carded stuff. I bought this at Walmart like, God, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, back when they sold stuff like that at Walmart. And there's that silly Archaeopteryx / Pteranodon again, and there's the Parasaurolophus. These are in solid colors. There's a really cheap version of the T-Rex with bad fingers and toes. And don't recognize that sculpt. And some really cheap scenery. Pretty cool card art, though. Creatures of the World. Made in China, yeah. Imperial. Imperial, J-Roo, whatever. They're Chinosaurs. They cheap Chinosaurs. And here are a couple of other more recent. Sorry about walking away all the time. I couldn't get everything on the table. This even says J-Roo. I got this fairly recently somewhere, a dollar store or something. I periodically pick this stuff up just to see how bad things have gotten as far as toy dinosaur collecting. They've gotten pretty bad. That ain't Marx, folks. And even worse, we have that. This must have been, that's made by Alley Oop. I don't even know if that's a Chinosaur. Yes, it's made in China. Grow and glow, yeah. So anyway, now I want to show one last thing. It is the Turok Son of Stone custom playset that I made. Could not get this thing in a box. I wanted to draw a big, fancy looking decorated box. Had to just draw like a decorated sign or placard or whatever. Actually, I just lettered this, and well, that little logo for Chaos Toys, I drew that. But I finished my Turok run a few years ago and had some low-grade duplicates, so I used a couple of them to cut out stuff from the covers, to decorate the sign. So I wanted this thing to look really nice. And this thing is really heavy and really big. I'm still looking for huts. So in Turok Son of Stone comic stories, a few of the caveman tribes, they had like thatched huts and stuff. Still looking for some of those, but when they turn up on eBay, they're like really expensive, like the Doc Hardy huts. So anyway, that just gives you an idea of some of the stuff in it. I wanted to do Lost Valley. So it's got 2 mountains and all kind of extra terrain from different sets. It's got like, let's see, 80 dinosaurs and other animals. It's got multiple poses for Turok and Andar, 40 cavemen. It's got a bunch of cutouts to stand for the caverns. You know, I cobbled together a lot of this, you know, as far as the cutouts and all go, myself, because a lot of the stuff in the stories, there are vast cavern networks. And a lot of the times the roofs cave in on them and they turn into canyons. And the whole premise of the stories is that Turok and Andar are trying to get out of Lost Valley. They're looking for a way out. They can't scale the cliffs at the edge of Lost Valley. And they haven't found a way out underground yet, but that's like the underlying theme. They're trying to get out. And I'm going to do, it'll be a long video. By the way, this freaking thing's heavy. It's like at least 20 pounds, maybe more. And I'm going to do a long video on this and cover it at some point when I get a chance. But there we have it. That's all I got for, okay, I'm not going out with this showing. Let's put something cool up here to end up on. Yeah, something really cool. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I wanted to get this down and loaded for my own use pretty much, that I can look back later and see where I was with my collection and all that at any given time. So anyway, I hope other people got some good out of this, and I will see you later at some point with the Turok Son of Stone custom playset.